Welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA chapter. Today is April 2nd, 2026. Today we have the pleasure of having Laura Brandenburg with us. She's going to be talking about from reactive to proactive, how to think and act like a business analyst. Whether you're early in your BA career or looking to increase your strategic influence, today you're going to learn practical ways to anticipate needs, ask better questions, and lead change with confidence. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the president of this chapter. I've been a business analyst for over 20 years. My career spans a diverse variety of industries. I've had the honor of contributing to the BABOC, founding the BA Force Multiplier movement, and a bunch of other stuff. But all that to say is, I'm here to help you. I've got resources to help you, but you've got to reach out and you've got to participate. Let's begin here for those of you who are new to the IIBA. The International Institute of Business Analysis is the global governing body for business analysis profession. We have over 30,000 members around the world, 120 chapters worldwide, and 7 internationally recognized certifications. We are committed to making the world better, one business, one project, and one life at a time. The IIBA serves as the global standard-setting organization for business analysis. Because of this leadership, the most respected and widely recognized certifications in our profession come from the IIBA, and they're grounded in the internationally adopted BABOC Guide. What are the benefits of you joining the IIBA? You get access to training provided by chapters literally around the globe. Complimentary access to over 25,000 outstanding books, videos, webinars, all kinds of stuff, along with additional resources. You get discounts on certification exams that potentially exceed the amount of your yearly membership. IIBA chapters are in major cities around the world. If there is not an active chapter near you, we can talk about you starting a chapter, or you're welcome to the Tampa Bay IIBA. Members of the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter are not restricted to residents of Florida. In fact, we have members and participants literally all around the globe. If you do not have an IIBA chapter, Tampa Bay can be your chapter. So our vision here is at the Tampa Bay IIBA is building a thriving community of empowered business analysts. So why would you choose to join the Tampa Bay chapter? We offer multiple training sessions each week, including CBAP prep and coaching, and an acclaimed SDLC workshop, among other things. You can view our upcoming events here at our website and the updates posted across LinkedIn and on Facebook. And we have hundreds of events now on the YouTube channel that we have, and it's a lot, but we have also this cool thing at rpchurchill.com. We call it Bob's Amazing Index. Bob Churchill has indexed all of our YouTube channel items, and you can find things by topic, by speaker. It's wonderful. Just jump in directly into the YouTube where that thing is being talked about. This is our esteemed board. I'm so very proud of the efforts of each one of them. I'm proud to announce that Imal Dorani has joined our board as a board member at large. He's going to be working with our Vice President of Technology, Kasi, to improve our Tampa Bay IIBA YouTube channel, and where we have over 100 free videos of past BA masterclasses, CBAP study prep courses, and the SDLC Experience Workshop. All of that work has gone into being recognized for 2025 as the chapter with the best professional development. Another result of all that work is these students have reached out to us to say that our training and mentoring was a big part of their success in achieving their professional certifications. Many of them are past participants of the CBAP study group, and several studied along with us using only our YouTube videos. Of these 30 folks, a majority have gone on to either lead IIBA chapters or organizations here and around the world because we make leaders here. Part of that prep that I want to tell you about is we currently have 2 CBAP test prep courses going on. One is for Thursday nights, which happens immediately after this course, and then another one is Saturday mornings. Times have changed around the world, and I've got to get these corrected, but this is what it was as of 2 weeks ago. If you're interested in joining either one of those, we are into the course now. You need to have a conversation with me so that we can be sure that you won't be left behind. This is not for beginners. You need to have been studying your Babok for a while to be able to join these courses at this point. I want to take a moment to appreciate all of our partners, but our number one partner group is you, IIBA members and those who participate in our chapter. We're partnering with over a dozen other IIBA chapters worldwide and mentoring 4 chapters that are just starting. I want to welcome the chapter that's starting in Ghana. They reached out to me because I keep saying, if you want to join a chapter, let's talk. They reached out to me. I got them connected with the right people, and we're going to be meeting on a monthly basis to be sure that they have all the answers that they need. We've partnered with the DOBAC group in the UK and these others in the Tampa Bay area. And we've successfully partnered with several recruiting services and training companies. Our goal in this partnership, as always, is to elevate our BA community. We've partnered with the Purdue University's program. This is their virtual AI master's program for students of Purdue University. We want to give their students more than just academic learning. They have hosted a virtual speaker series, and several of us who are mentors have gone on to participate in that. I want to give a shout out to Esther, who is our Vice President of Professional Development. She is the one who's coordinating all of this, all the mentors, all the communication. She's done a fantastic job. In the 2 months that we've started, this has been going on, over half of the participants in the speaking program have been from the Tampa Bay IIBA. And these are the talks that are coming up. 3 out of these 4 are coming from the Tampa Bay IIBA, and we're really excited to hear them. Benefits of our partnership includes discounts and special events to our participants. That's you. Watermark Learning offers you a 40% discount using this code, Tampa21. This means you can get unlimited access to 1,200 CBAT practice test questions at a 40% discount. Watermark tools are what I use for the CBAT training classes, and many of my students have expressed how these tools are. Adaptive US, who specializes only in business analysis, has over 90 free items on their website. They offer our participants a 20% discount on all live courses and on-demand courses, excluding those with IIBA exam vouchers. Adaptive has an impressive guarantee. If you take their certification course and you don't pass the test, take the test but don't pass it, they will pay for you to retake it. That's standing behind their training. Now, grab your calendars. I've got some upcoming events for you. Next week, Tosin is going to be talking to us about strategic analysis framework and business analysis. He's going to walk us through the essential strategic analysis framework and gain a clear understanding of the 5-case model, a foundation of UK government business case development. The week after that, Taiwo is going to be talking about transforming the way analysts work with data. He's going to show us how Copilot and Power BI streamlines analysis and reporting through natural language. It makes insights faster to uncover and dramatically reduces manual effort. On April 9th, this is a Saturday. This is an all-day workshop. David is going to come talk to us about creating business cases that align with organizational goals and support confident decision-making. So not only will you learn how to build a business case, you're going to understand the elements of a business case that will impact your project all the way through your project. Right now, until April 4th, we've got early bird pricing on this. This is one of the very few things that we charge money for, but we got to pay our trainers. The IIBA members can get the early bird pricing for this 7-hour course for $150. Non-IIBA members, it's a $200 cost. After April 4th, the price is going to go up $50 for each of those. BA Life Conference is in April. This is a virtual conference out of the UK, so it's a little earlier than some of us might want to get up, but they'll have 30 brilliant speakers, 12 months of access to the recordings. On April 9th, Renat is coming back, and she has Designing AI Augmented Enterprise Workflows. She's going to walk us through essential strategic analysis framework and gain a clear understanding of I'm sorry, that's a wrong read. But she's going to talk to us about AI Augmented Enterprise workflows. In April, at the end of April, April 27th through 29th, Project Summit Business Analysis World will be held in Orlando on, and our own Seamus and Robert will be speaking there or holding down a booth, depending on which one you're talking to. Uh, Esther is going to talk to us with BA Strategy Lab on April 30th. This is Games, Grit, and Great Decisions. This is a little bit more fun than we normally have because we're going to talk about how to make business analysis fun. It's a great way to use it for icebreakers. It's a great way to get people to talk together, to bond. You need to know. And then on May 7th, I'm going to bring a presentation using Copilot M365 to make your own CBAP test bank. You're going to be able to understand what Copilot M365 is and what it's not in the context of CBAP test prep. This session is ideal for you not only if you're a CBAP candidate or study group leader, but anyone who wants to learn how to build an AI agent easily. Guys, it took me 10 minutes and it is so fantastic. And it's giving us scenarios. I'm so excited. On May 28th, also in Europe, the European BA Day is coming to us. It's virtual, again, early, but a lot of good speakers. So giving you a lot of details now, but you can see all of this on right here at tampabay.iiba.org. We also put it on our LinkedIn channel. Join our LinkedIn channel. You'll get all the deets. We also put recordings of almost everything we do on YouTube. And to get the index of where things are on YouTube, you can go to rpchurchill.com. Now I'm going to turn it over to Laura Brandenburg for our presentation. Take it away, Laura.
Thank you, Thea. Your chapter has so many amazing things going on. I don't know that there's any other chapter that does this much. It's incredible every time I get to sit through that.
I am so confident that we are leading some of them, but we're also raising some of them up. So let's see what we can do better. What do you have
Yeah.
for us, Laura?
Awesome. Well, today we're going to talk about from reactive to proactive, how to think. I have how to think and act like a business analyst, or how business analysts create real value. I think I've had a few different subtitles, so a little different than what we had in the summary, but same content. Okay, so we're going to look at how business analysis creates value beyond just documentation. We're going to do a light self-assessment grounded in the Business Analyst Blueprint, which is a framework of BA skills that I use as part of our teaching at Bridging the Gap. I don't want this to be like a scary thing. It really is going to be a light assessment just to build some awareness around where are some opportunities where I could reduce effort, increase impact, be more proactive in my role. We're going to look at the difference between low value and high value work, and then do some crowdsourcing around where AI can support clarity and not just faster documentation. So one of the themes that I've been seeing from our community is that people want to learn not just from, the people like me who are teaching, but from each other. And so I do hope that you'll interact in the chat today, use those emojis if you have things that you like or don't like or that resonate with you. And there'll be a few times that I'll have you actually share specific things. And that's both for you in terms of when we write something down, like it crystallizes that for us, but it's also for everybody else here because we learn from each other. And you might see somebody share something that helps you think of something that you also do that adds value or that you could use in your work. So a lot of the sharing is really intentional so that we can both learn from each other, but also crystallize kind of our own knowledge and awareness. And I hope that you leave with one practical shift that you can apply immediately in your current role. So one thing that you can take away and take action on either, before the end of the week, although it's Thursday night, or at least by next week. So just to kind of get us warmed up, I really invite you to consider, and you can share this in the chat if you'd like, but you definitely don't have to. What's taking most of your energy at work right now? right? Is it meetings? Is it distractions? Is it changes? Is it worries about pressure, right? There's a lot going on, worries about AI. I've been talking to a lot of teams and leaders about how AI is disrupting their business analysis practice and how they want to shift in response to that. I see context switching. Yeah, that's a big one, right? It changes. Yeah, every time we switch, there's some data around that. Every time we switch, it takes us like 10 minutes to get back. And I'm like, then how do I ever get anything done? Right? I'm constantly looking at so many different things. But just kind of take that in mind because we're going to use that kind of where your energy's flowing as a kind of as a background for tonight. Okay, so what I want to share is like most practicing business analysts that I talk to, and I talk to a lot of BAs, we're busy, we're capable, we're caring, we're thoughtful, we're detail oriented, right? And in some level, in some ways, we're also reactive. There's a lot that happens that we have to respond to or react to, right? And meetings I'm seeing, yeah, meetings can make us reactive, right? Like just looking at your calendar and like, where in my day am I going to get my intentional work done? Because I have so many meetings. So what can be some of these reactive behaviors? It can look like being consumed with the day-to-day issues, right? So in fighting fires instead of proactively investing in alignment and clarity. So when we don't do the right requirements up front, we might have to deal with the last minute changes, which need to be done urgently. And it kind of creates a bit of a cycle when we have to do that over and over again. It can be also, though, waiting until decisions are made and focusing on documenting them instead of proactively facilitating them. I'll sometimes hear people say, oh, I'm waiting for somebody to get clear on that, right? Which is a bit reactive in a way because we're reacting to their decision of getting clear versus reaching out and proactively helping them through that process. It could also be perfecting and tweaking our requirements, our models, instead of being out there proactively facilitating conversations, exploring impacts, and reaching out to stakeholders across the organization. So these are common behaviors. And I want to say also, they're not personal failures, right? Our environment is set up for us to want to do these things. We want our models to look perfect because we want to present our best selves, right? We want to make sure the right decision is made. We want to deal with the fire. We want to make sure that those issues are dealt with. So if any of those issues are coming up in your current work, and it might be all of them, feel free to let them know in the chat as well. Though I'm not going to shout anybody out. But what I want to say is, if this is happening, it's not that there's anything broken, it's that we're under positioned in terms of the role. And so there are steps that you can take to reposition yourself, to leverage your strengths, and to be more proactive and lead from the frame of business analysis. And that's really what we're here about tonight. But first, let's get an understanding of what value even looks like. And Stephen says elicitation, prototyping, follow-up meetings. Okay, great. Um, and you might be like, Laura, why is there a hammer here? Well, when I was starting to learn about sales and marketing, when I first started my business, I knew a lot about business analysis. I knew nothing about sales and marketing. And one of the first metaphors I learned was this idea of the hammer. And like, does somebody actually want a hammer? Do you actually want it? Like, you probably own a hammer. I know we have a few all around. But when I'm like looking for the hammer, which I can never find in my house, it's like, do I want the hammer? I actually want to hang something up on the wall, right? I want the outcome. Or maybe I want to bash a hole in the wall. I don't know. We can do lots of different things with the hammer, but the constructive thing would be to hang up something on the wall, right? And it's similarly in business analysis, our teams, they don't really want our use cases, our visual models, right? Our business requirements documents, our prototypes. What they want is working software and updated processes and understanding that drive real business change, right? So we know, and you know, that all the things you do as a BA help you create that outcome, right? But when speaking about our work, it might not make sense to have those models take center stage. So whatever you do or whatever you take away from today, I just want you to have that frame in mind that there can be multiple perspectives on value and that the outcome we achieve is separate from the tools we use. And so that does not mean those tools aren't valuable. It just means that we need to think about what's the outcome that this piece of the process is really creating and using that when we talk about it, because it will land a lot more effectively. So, from, yes, it's a great step towards strategic understanding. So, from the perspective, and this does come from my book, I think Thea might have mentioned it in the intro, but this is in chapter 9 of The Value Driven Business Analyst, which is my latest book, was released last summer. There is a description of the value proposition for business analysis and the different ways that business analysis specifically um, creates value in an organization. I think we need to be really clear on this. Like, what is the value that we create, right? And what is the value that we achieve? And so we're going to look at ways that we reduce costs. So one is we minimize rework when the requirements aren't clear or when they're undocumented or when nobody's on the same page, right? There's rework, and clear requirements and a shared understanding minimizes that rework. We also reduce requirements churn. So churn happens when stakeholders have a lot of conversations without actually getting aligned or clear or writing anything down, right? And so then often they have to have those conversations again, or they didn't bring the right people in. So when you focus on your stakeholders and you build momentum and help them walk through the decisions and drive alignment around the business objectives and requirements, you're in that like rehashing the same conversations over and over again, you're reducing that churn, which that churn, every meeting has a cost, right? Every email has a cost. The side conversations have costs. That waste could be applied to more productive uses versus talking about the same thing over and over again. Similarly, we help find more cost-effective solutions. So when we actually understand the true business objectives and clarify the current state, we often will identify less cost or less costly solutions, maybe less we would eliminate before we automate. So even the software piece might be simpler than we had originally envisioned. And that creates a lot of value as well. And then reduce consulting costs. If you can replace a consultant with your effort, or one of the participants, we were having a discussion around this in a similar webinar I did with the International IIBA, talked about reducing hard costs like licensing costs by analyzing how the people in the organization were actually using a specific tool. They were able to eliminate something like $100,000 of like hard consulting costs for their company. So huge value add, right? To be able to say I eliminated this much from the budget. But we also like reduce costs is just part of the picture. We also increase benefits. We discover new benefits. Like when we're digging in and really understanding the business objectives and helping the business get clear on the goals, and then also understanding the possibilities of technology, particularly as we have all these new AI capabilities, right? We can often find new ways that the technology we're already implementing can be adjusted in such a way to meet some unenvisioned benefit by the business. And so we can deliver even more value than they were envisioning. We prioritize effort on the highest value requirements. So that means the things that get the most impact get done first. And so that, too often teams will focus on kind of the easy things or the whatever first, but when we focus on value first, that can increase the benefits delivered from the same amount of effort. A difficult one is that when we actually pause a project that does not have a great ROI, it can be difficult to have that conversation, but it frees up energy and resources for other projects within the organization, and it's not a loss. I hear a lot of BAs think that they failed if a project got canceled. It's often a great win because it got canceled before it got built, and you would have just like been kind of continuing to invest additional effort into something that didn't have a positive outcome. And you can leverage your solutions more effectively. So business doesn't end with the software. You also help the business leverage that software, and you make sure that they're actually using it the way it's intended. So I'm going to turn this over to you now, and I want to hear, and I'm going to give you a minute at least in the chat to write something down and identify, oops, oh no, sorry, I was looking at but the next slide and thinking I was in the wrong one. What's one example? when you've created value using business analysis. And again, I want you to think of this as crowdsourcing because when you share something, someone else might realize that they've also created value in that way, and you might see yourself reflected in others' shares as well. I'll give you a minute to just think about that, and if you can share a synopsis in the chat, that would be great. Thank you, Thea, for being right in there. Improved a process with automation, increased production by 400%. It's great to have a specific number like that. Yeah. Yes. And if it's not that specific, that is okay too. Sometimes we just know we reduce the overall effort using automation, right? Or we increase the throughput. Carol, thank you. I shortened the time to process enhancement requests. Yeah, so that's an improvement within the business analysis process that really speaks to getting the right things ready for the organization more quickly and also probably less stakeholder time involved in that. So that's great. Bob says, when I observe that products create more financial leverage than project work, also any kind of automation, for sure. Sure. Identify data cleanup efforts. Thank you for sharing that, Prabhathi. Okay. Yeah, data cleanup, when we think about the impact of data cleanup right now, the organizations that are not achieving the value that they think they should be on AI, it's because a lot of that, I shouldn't say all of it, but a lot of that is because the data itself isn't clean enough or current enough. We don't have our processes documented, right? And so when you like the input you put into any of these automation or AI type tools, is going to dictate how much value you receive from the output. So like the value of that effort was always great from a reporting and an understanding perspective, but we're really seeing that get amplified in the current environment. And stopping a project from taking steps of a click due to lack of some terminology understanding. Yeah, that's a great one. Steven says, I help provide resources and a business case for a project that influenced the leadership team to make a final decision. That is a great example, and it's got to be so fulfilling to do that work. So, all right, thank you for sharing that. All right. All right, yes, thank you. Okay, so those are some great examples. Thank you so much for engaging and sharing, and feel free to continue to get those in if you think of something or if you're still typing them. But I do want to acknowledge, like, yes, we do great work. We add value in all these ways. And of course, there are challenges, right? We are in an environment where often we have aggressive deadlines, where we might be assigned late in the project, where we might have an unclear role or a role that changes or feels like it changes from day to day. We might have stakeholders that are not engaged, either because they feel like they don't need to be engaged, or because they're actively resistant to the project, or because they don't understand like their necessity of their involvement. And all of these external factors can lead to a lack of confidence. So when we're in an environment where, we're assigned late, our role's not clear, stakeholders are kind of, trying to work around us, we have aggressive deadlines, right? It's easy to internalize that it's me, like I'm doing something wrong. And what I want to really help show here is that the environment can also contribute to our confidence. These are not uncommon challenges. And so you are not alone if you're facing one or all of them. They're on this slide because I hear them again and again and again. But at the same time, there's places where we can control and things that we don't control. So we can't control, like when we're assigned, the maturity of the organization we're in, how engaged stakeholders are initially, the deadlines, the funding, right? Those are often decisions that are outside of our control. We might be able to influence them, but we don't control them directly. But we do control what we choose to pay attention to, what how we clarify and analyze, what questions we ask and when we ask them, and where we invest our energy, right? And where we stop over perfecting as well. So we can choose how we show up even in a challenging external situation. That will shift both how our role plays out and also how we feel about our role. So this brings us into our quick self-assessment. And I don't have like a handout. You don't have to like score yourself in any specific way, but I am going to just invite you to reflect on these questions as I share them, and kind of get a sense of where would there be an opportunity for me to make a shift, or where am I doing really well already? And like, so we can celebrate those places we're doing well and double down on those in some cases, or identify, oh gosh, I could make a little tweak here and it would make a big difference. So we're going to go through, this is the business analyst blueprint, which is the framework I mentioned that we teach from at Bridging the Gap. And again, this is a flashlight, not a scorecard, right? And the way this is organized is there's the business level, the software level, the information level. These are all the techniques along the top that you would use. And then along the bottom is the 8-step business analysis process framework, which is the foundation that's in the value-driven BA. That's what I teach from in that book specifically, which is how to handle an end-to-end process. So it's just some questions around this. When you're thinking about a current, active, or recent project, like, do you understand the business process or the customer journey? Or, you know, if it's a product, that it could be a customer journey, if it's an internal process, or the internal processes that support that journey as well. You know, do you question business as usual and find unexpected improvement opportunities? That comes when you understand that process or that journey. From the software level, do you discover, analyze, and validate software requirements and ensure they reflect what the business wants and what's feasible within the project constraints? Is the business truly bought into those changes? Do you understand, kind of moving to the information level, do you understand how information is managed in your organization? What good data looks like, right? How data flows between systems. The BA role does not always require doing the deep data modeling, but you do want to understand and bring the perspective of the data into your efforts. And kind of a bonus for all of these, because of the world we're in today, are you leveraging AI to help in your discovery, your analysis, and your meeting facilitation? And then along the bottom, do you have a business analysis process and approach that you use on your projects? Doesn't have to be ours exactly, but you know, do you have an approach, a way of doing your work? So the yeses are your value adds and the nos are your opportunities. So let's just dig a little bit deeper and take a closer look at the BA process. And again, this is the structure of the book. If you want to dig in deeper, I also have a whole course around this. But kind of starting here with the business objectives, right? Do you oh, actually, we're going to go back. We're going to start here. Do you understand, getting oriented is really understanding the role and the context, but do you understand the role in this organization and how it adds value? Do you understand on a project the business objectives and ensure all the stakeholders are aligned on their desired outcomes? So many problems within projects can be fixed if we like focus a little bit more of attention right here. Do you clarify scope and ensure it's feasible within constraints like the budget and the timeline? Step 4, do you define a plan for your business analysis activities, estimate the work, and let stakeholders know what to expect, which enables you to set a realistic deadline? And then when it gets to step 6 and 7, do you proactively collaborate with both business and technology teams during the implementation? Right? We are pretty much done with the world where we finish the requirements and hand them off and then hope that they get completed okay. Okay. So, take a step back and consider where you might be reacting or where you might be skipping steps. And I can say a very common theme is that teams skip this foundational work in step 2 and 3 and kind of jump right into here and then swirl around in here. Right? And then really need to go back here and be like, what problem are you trying to solve? What are we looking to achieve? And then get back to the requirements. So and that is a really common pattern. And it's again dictated by that external pressure. And just even a little bit of time kind of clarifying these initial pieces can pay huge dividends in terms of that proactivity. Okay, let me just figure out how to erase all this drawing. I haven't been using a lot of the drawing lately. Let's see, there we go. Okay. So if you want to do an even deeper assessment, like this was intentionally light because we have just a finite amount of time here today, but I do have a business analysis skills assessment. It's now part of this whole deliverables collection, which is a set of free resources that we offer at Bridging the Gap. It's at that URL, bridgingthegap.com/deliverables. And it really will help you define where are you strongest, where are you compensating, and what's the one area that would reduce rework or frustration for you the most. And along with that skills assessment, there are a few other templates that you can use those are resources from our premium toolkits that we offer for free. So that's a free resource for the community. So now I just want to consider like what of all the things that we talked about, what's the biggest problem area you can control? And it might feel like a lot. It can be a lot to take all of that in at once. I think, we're kind of conditioned to see the external problems and to think that the conditions in which we work have to change before we can change, right? Like when we stop having deadlines that are so aggressive, then I can do something different. Or when these issues stop, then I can do something different. Now, that doesn't mean that, again, that those external conditions don't matter. They do. There are certainly environments that are more supportive for the role. When you have a great practice, a clear role, stakeholders who understand what you do, it's easier to be seen and appreciated. But that's the exception more than the norm. So, what can you do in the face of whatever pressures you're facing, and how can you choose to be more proactive? Right. And so just those little tweaks can make a really big difference. So when it comes to that, I just want to see. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to that, this is a bit of advice from my book as well about how to make these tweaks because we can think we have to do all the things. But often your most obvious next career step is to eliminate what you enjoy the least, or what's like in this case, maybe what's most reactive, just take that piece out of the equation, right? And make room for the activities that you enjoy the most, meaning that you have really like, or where you can be more proactive, and then take on one area about responsibility that excites you. Sorry, I kind of bubbled through that. So let me just read this so that it's here. Your most obvious next career step is often to eliminate or minimize what you enjoy the least or what's most reactive. And that makes room for the activities that you enjoy the most, and then take on one new area of responsibility that excites you, and invest in the support you need or accept the support that's already available to you. I mean, you have like a gazillion sessions just for this chapter alone that can support you, and resources as well, right? So you don't have to fix everything at once. You can make these little tweaks along the way. So what might some of those tweaks be? You can trade out some low value activities for some high value. So some of the low values might be constant messaging, like always being on. Give yourself an hour a couple of times a day to just focus on your work and turn the messaging apps off. It could be endless model tweaking, like do you spend too much time getting all the pieces right before you actually get it out in front of stakeholders? It could be unnecessary meetings. A lot of us are in cultures where the culture is to invite everyone who might be possibly relevant. And so are you really needed at those meetings? And do you have something, or could you like see the notes? Could you even send an AI bot? We don't want AI bots in like high value meetings, but could you send something that would get you a summary instead of feeling like you have to physically be there? And similar when you're organizing your meetings, is everyone that's there actually needed, right? So having that culture of, if we can do this with 2 or 3 people instead of 10 people, let's do that and then let the rest of the people know and give input in a different way. And then anything you don't love, because if you don't love it, it's not your best work. If you're not excited about it, there's probably somebody who is excited about it. And I think we pay less attention than we should to things that are just flat out irritating for us. Okay. And what would you take on? Something more collaborative, right? So hosting a collaborative session and getting people building a model together. Powerful models. I keep hearing about, especially in the AI world where documentation can get cranked out. We can crank out pages of documentation easily, but like a powerful visual model that presents something in just the right way that helps somebody make the right decision, that is a skill set. And those look very simple, but they take some time to create. So what new powerful model could you experiment with? Building relationships, so getting out and talking to people outside of formal meetings. And then anything you want, like anything you've heard in one of these series and they're like, gosh, that would be really fun to try that. Like just figure out a way to give it a try, right? It doesn't have to be official. You don't have to be assigned that. Just like give it a try, and see how you enjoy it and what value it creates. Okay. And Cliff, thank you. You are like one step ahead. So the next thing I wanted to do here is again a little bit of crowdsourcing of how do you leverage AI to support clarity and not just faster documentation, right? So are there ways that you are leveraging AI right now? And we are in a time when no one person is an expert in all the things, and we are all better together. I am learning new ways that people are using AI like every day. And I can share a few of the things that I'm seeing, but I also would love to hear from you. And I know your peers would also love to hear from you. So Cliff says we started using Firefly's AI in our meetings. It sits in the background and sends out a transcription, saves us a lot of note taking. Yeah, for the first time today, I'm like resistant to recording my meetings, but I recorded a meeting with a client and then used that transcription and had AI help me. I like still typed up my own notes and I was like, what did I miss? What are some of the nuances? And it pulled out some things that I had just not heard the way I thought I had. And so that was really, really helpful. Some ideas as well, you can ask questions to learn a new domain. So ask for a summary, ask for a learning path about how to learn that domain or learn that tool or learn that skill. You can use it to identify questions to ask your stakeholders. You can turn meeting transcripts into a debrief, like Cliff shared. I think the next piece that's really big is how to use vibe coding tools, or even Claude will create prototypes to create prototypes in real time. And so that the validation that we're doing with a stakeholder, I've always loved using wireframes along with requirements, but I think we're going to see more of that validation happen with these prototypes that we update and iterate on, and then figure out how to get those specs or the details over to development in the easiest possible way. You could use it to synthesize a lot of information, pull out details of a lot of information, or rationalize forms of reports that to show like what's common and what's unique. Like where could you combine them into one essentially? Yeah, Steven says I use it to analyze stakeholder interviews to identify common themes and patterns in their responses. That's great. Yeah,
Oh.
very cool. How are the rest of you using it? Okay, Cliff says I'm using different codes while doing data analysis migrations. Well, this is beyond the kind of work I do. It's technical work. So it can convert queries from SQL to Java. That's amazing. Yes. Yeah. So if
I
you're
use it
like,
with my,
what's
I'm
that?
sorry.
Go
I
ahead,
use it with
Thea.
I use it with my SQL queries whenever it's not doing what I think it should be doing. I mean, I'm giving it the right instructions, right? So I
Right.
put the query into Copilot and say, this is what I'm telling it to do. And it's like, oh, here's what's wrong. And it will teach me what's wrong and provide me what the
Yeah,
correct answer is.
that's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome in notebooks, Databricks, if you ever use those kinds of tools, because those tools will allow you to do different languages in
Mm-hmm.
between your notebooks. So if you want to write a query in SQL and the next query you want to write in C sharp or something like that, you can change it all on the fly. It's really helpful there because I get stuck on commas, colons, all this stupid syntax issues between, you got Oracle SQL and Microsoft SQL, two different worlds. Yeah, it's SQL, but the syntax are so different.
Yeah, and there's no need to really know, it's just a syntax difference, right? So to be able to
Uh-huh.
have something do that translation for you, that's great. Yeah.
I
One of
use
the
it
cool,
with,
oh, go
I'm
ahead, Thea.
sorry. I use it with
No,
complex Excel formulas.
yeah.
It's like I'm trying to do this and I keep getting a value error, and it will tell me what I need to know. Or
Mhm.
I'll use it whenever I have objectives for a class, and it's like, okay, I've written all this. Have I met my objectives? And do I have good
Mm,
transitions? And
yeah,
it's my smartest best friend, but I still have to check it because sometimes it still makes mistakes.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Anyone else have an example they want to share?
I tend to,
No, but you're right.
I,
They all make mistakes. You do
that's
have
what
to
I was
look
going to
at them.
say. Most of the time, I trust the AI about as much as I would trust a college freshman.
That's about right. Yeah, and but it also needs the instructions that you would give a
Hmm.
college freshman, right? So
Exactly.
I
Mm.
Yeah, you're
think,
talking to the
yeah,
university professor on that one. Exactly.
Yeah, but Carol, a few years ago, it would have been a kindergartner. So it is improving.
Yes,
It
it
is.
is, but the scary part is my mom just got scammed by one of these AI bots.
Really.
Yeah,
Oh,
literally, that's what
yeah.
I was taking care of before I joined tonight. So, the AI bot got in there, knew enough about her to convince her what was going on, got her connected to a person, and $14,000 later.
yes.
Mm.
I'm so sorry about that, Carol.
Yeah, so I've been in AI long enough to know that it's mathematically based, it's looking for the patterns, and it does not connect up across multiple pattern sets without a lot of intent by the guider.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think like that's what honestly I'm working. There's a couple organizations that I'm working with or like talking about working with, and we're looking at what is the context that you need to successfully generate this piece, and how does that piece generate the next piece, right? And so I think without that right context,
Hmm.
you're not, this is the data part, right? But from a BA perspective, if we don't have a clear understanding of our business objectives and our scope, AI can give us a lot of great ideas of
Hmm.
what the next like ways we can improve things, but they might not actually do the things that we want it to do. And so the more context we can provide, the better. And like I think this is where the BA skill set is so powerful because
Yeah,
we know the context
definitely.
or we get
Yeah.
the context. We have to learn,
Well,
remember how
it's
to
our
like
ability, it's
translate
our
it.
ability
Yeah.
to ask the probing questions, to
Yeah.
connect across the other pieces. And Cliff, precisely, that's what happened to my mom today.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Simus, did you want to share something?
Yes, so I actually do AI for a financial firm.
Uh-huh.
And some things I will like to share. Definitely check out Visual Studio Code with Claude. And what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing is building out these folders, like for instance, Claude with the Claude MD file and a skilled MD file, and you are pretty much building out agents with little folders of examples. With that, you can actually get exactly the results that you want. So you're pretty much making like a whole database for the agent and Claude to go look at with instructions, the skills, and you can get the exact output that you have done. That's something I'm actually building out for a lot of the departments in tech, and it's getting accurate, very accurate results. So something just to look out for, and you can include APIs and so many more examples inside of it. And it's pretty much
Yeah, so you're building the code, like you're actually having it generate code. Is that, yeah?
code, and also it's generating like these instructions, examples, all these different things at once. And then it can
Mhm.
make you PDFs, HTML, whatever you want. Uh, but I definitely say something that you should check around with because it's something that I am getting very, very accurate results almost every single time and very consistent. It's kind of like
Mm.
you're building out the AI agent. And the nice
Mhm.
part is it's on Visual Studio and we're just with Claude, and
Mhm.
it's pretty secure because it's working off your computer. So just
But
want to add a note.
to point that back is one, your context is still very small, comparatively speaking, when you've been working with 30 years, 40 years of application, program, and evolution. Uh, where do you get the assessment of an accurate requirement? Is it still something, and this is where a lot of the programmers have a bit of a blind spot for the where the BAs help, in my experience, is to say, okay, look, let's check with the business processes. This thing still valid? Is it still working the way it worked 30 years ago? Just because it hasn't been reported as broken doesn't mean it's correct. It may be acceptable, but it may not be as correct as we want it to be. So this is where I see the BA part coming back in
Mhm.
is and I work with application modernization. So yes, I'm this deep in Claude and a few other opportunities out there as well. You know, where does it where do you put in for the technical side, the older platform versus the newer platform? Where are these changes happening? Oh, yeah, somebody's figured it out, but how do we make sure it gets into the context of the development to move an application? And what do you do with the data? And what do you do with all of that archive data that you have to be able to access once it's moved to a different platform? Because compliance says you have to be able to get to that for the life of a you know, an insuree.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there's just question after question after question when you start bringing in the BA context from more than just here's a program, here's an application, here's a system, here's a, oh goodness, now we've got DR, we've got all of these other technologies, DevOps. We've got to be able to support creation and evaluation and bug fixing. And oh, somebody went to sleep last night and they woke up, they've got a different understanding of the requirement. Now, that never happens to a BA.
Yes, I think it's like there's right. So the tools are going to build the best that we give
Yeah,
it. So there's
they do, but we still
certainly
have to check
still
it.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I do have just a couple more points, and then I do want to make sure we leave a little bit of time for Q&A. So the two questions. So we covered a lot of ground, and I always love to give a bit of time to do a quick integration exercise. So you'll kind of remember those two, like let the idea of letting go of something to create space to add something in. So, is there anything like that you could think of today, one activity that you would let go of, right? Put it in the chat if you'd like. And is there an activity or an area that you want to lean into and expand? And so you're creating space so that you can lean into something that's going to add more value, help you be more proactive, and get ahead of the game. And again, when you keep doing that over and over again, this is where the career progression comes from.
I want it to help me retire. No.
That's not career progression. That's yes.
So I can volunteer to do things that I want to do. No.
So that brings us to the close. Um, Thea, I think you lean into
Mhm.
understanding what AI can do and find related things in my own job. It's great. Yeah. All right. Other questions, comments, discussion topics, things that you wanted to kind of dig into a little bit more deeply, challenges you're facing at work that we could talk through?
Thanks a lot, Laura.
Yeah.
I appreciate your presentation. I enjoyed your first book, so I'm looking forward to checking out your new book.
Wonderful. Thanks,
I'm
Stephen.
in an organization where everyone is very cautious about AI.
Mm,
They're afraid of the tendency of people to kind of lean too heavily on
mm-hmm,
first results and also not developing any technical skills anymore. They're just kind of just, oh, AI can just do it for me.
mm-hmm,
And I also have coworkers who are concerned about like environmental concerns.
mm-hmm,
These data centers are using so much energy and water and so forth. So how can
mm-hmm,
we balance all these things to kind of show people the benefits of using AI, but at the same time, um, being aware of that there are some downsides to
for
incorporate
sure.
technologies.
Yeah, I think it for everyone it's just going to happen incrementally, right? So like when I was first, I had that same resistance of like, oh, I don't know how to use this or I don't know what to use it, and I just encouraged myself like one time every day, I have to use it, right? So like for something. And so like showing like a piece that's going to make their lives easier, like it comes to like what is the value for them? What is the priority for them, right? That whole like AI is the hammer, what is the outcome that would make that person get lit up and excited about the possibilities, and it's going to be a little different for everyone, so kind of trying to understand what's important to them and shape it in their context. I think the environmental concern is hugely valid, and that's an area I'm super passionate about too, and I have not reconciled that. I'll just be totally transparent. Like I know that there's people working on making it less less intensive, and it seems logical to me that it should be able to be less intensive and like solar powered and more like reusing the water within its own space or reusing the heat it generates as energy. So like there seems like there should be solutions in there. But I don't know how to, like, that is a point of probably conflict, inner conflict for me as well. So I can just mirror what you said on that, Stephen. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laura, I'd like to call out your free business analyst skills assessment. I took
Mm-hmm.
this in one of your previous webinars, and I'm thinking I've been doing business analysis for decades. I'm not a newbie. I got so much good out of that. And I've told you this before, but I'm telling you in front of everybody, so maybe they will lean in. I dropped the screenshot in the chat for that, but guys, go check it out. Laura has such good stuff. She thinks so clearly and directly about business analysis.
Thank you for that, Thea. And I think the session you were on was actually the bonus session I
Mhm.
ran around the book. So, and that is still available. So if you buy the book and register your purchase, you get that as one of the bonuses. And so there's the skills assessment, and then there's also this super deep dive assessment we did as part of it and that one is for book purchasers. So thank you. They're
Very
both
good.
great resources.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
For those of you who have just met Laura tonight for the very first time, please understand Laura is one of the parents of business analysis of our entire industry. She's brought so much good, reasonable, logical, linear understanding of what it takes to be a good business analyst. And I may be wrong, but I've never heard her push certifications or something outrageous. It's like, no, you can be a good business analyst, but here's the basic framework, and she's put it together. She does such a good job at it. I encourage you to look into her books.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Thea.
My pleasure.
I'm just going to stop sharing so I can see everybody a little bit more clearly.
Have any more
Yeah.
questions? Any comments? Has anybody read Laura's books and appreciated them?
Yes, I really love that book and insights are really helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad. They're a labor of love, so it's the best reward is having somebody actually read them. Yes.
I've got time for one more comment. Anybody? Okay.
Thank
Laura?
you.
Thank you, Carol, and best of luck for your mom as well.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
we plugged all of the holes electronically, so
It's important.
and got my sister there taking care of her, and my sister's financial was not connected. So hallelujah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you know that we've got more presentations every Thursday night. We bring this to you, but we can only bring it to the people that attend. Please let people know that we're here, that we're doing this. We are working hard to bring value to all of our participants. We also have this on YouTube. As I said earlier, go to Bob's Amazing Index at rpchurchill.com to get the list of what's on YouTube. And then Cliff puts the recordings on YouTube for us. We keep track of your attendance so that we can say you were participating in this whenever you go for certification. We do a whole bunch for you, but we need you to bring people to us. Laura, thank you so much. I look forward to the next time.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. Thanks all for
Okay.
everything you do.
My
Have a great
pleasure.
evening.
Bye, guys.